Hi. So this is episode number 74 of these, which I started doing this because I needed something to do on Sunday or on weekends during quarantine. We're still in quarantine, so all right. Never expected to do 70 of these, but we're going strong, and apparently there are people that are still, or at least someone. Oh, that's probably my wife that is tuned in to watch. So in fact, after a couple of weeks of not having a studio audience, we actually have a studio audience this week. Yay! Now, most of our studio audience members are folks that we have had drinks with, that we've known for a number of years, that share interests. Part of our studio audience this evening are people that we met at a bar and went, is that a HP Lovecraft or Miskatonic pin, right? Yeah, sort of thing. So it has been high time for us to actually get together with them and actually do something social. So I'm happy to have them here. And at some point, we'll bring them up and we can do toast and that sort of thing. Speaking of which, so what are we doing this evening? We're going to do a homage, not an homage. We're not really going to talk about HP. We're just going to do a few drinks that are in HP, in honor of HP's mythos and his writings, just drinks that are inspired by what the gentleman has done. And to start this mess off, what I did was I created what I'm going to call a Providence Daiquiri. So this is a standard daiquiri recipe. I'm using my usual, which is 3/4 an ounce of some form of infused syrup, 3/4 of an ounce of some sort of sour citrus component, and then 2 ounces of a rum, and shaken with ice so it's all nice and cold and that sort of thing. So why am I calling this a Providence daiquiri? Well, because we're actually using Providence Haitian rum blanc, right? These are first pressings off of the vat. This is coming in at 57% alcohol, so it's got a little bit of kick there. I wanted to get a little more flavor to it, so I used a pineapple syrup for this. So should be a hint of pineapple in the background there. So cheers to everyone.
Cheers. Cheers. Delicious.
And went with lemon for the citrus instead of the lime that would have been more traditional for a daiquiri. Which I wanted you to get a bright hit of citrus up front and not have it kind of linger off into the background. And so that lemon's really good for that. Lime will kind of sit there and be tart on your tongue through the rest of the flavor profile. So there you go. There's a Providence daiquiri because HP Lovecraft loved Providence. Loved Providence, probably to a fault. Yeah, we're getting nods. Yep. Yeah, to a fault. If you hop online, you will find any number of different cocktails that are inspired by the Lovecraftian mythos. Some of which are okay, some of which use flavored vodkas. I'm just saying. We're gonna do a couple of different riffs. I wanted to go a little far afield on some of these, and we will get to the third drink. The Wyrms of the Earth is very much sort of a classic tiki drink. The Elder Sign, the second drink that we're going to do, is a drink that I did a couple of years back for our Haunted Tiki party. And the first drink I created for this evening, I was sort of inspired by reading The King in Yellow to do a drink called The King in Yellow, because I thought that would be kind of a cool thing. So what we are going to do with this drink is we are going to pour it into coupes, but I'm going to rinse the coupe with some Strega. And if you're not familiar with Strega, Strega is colored and slightly flavored with saffron. So this is bright yellow in color, right? And the drink that I'm going to do is basically a riff off the Sazerac, but instead of doing a rinse with absinthe, we're going to do a rinse with the Strega instead. Strega also means witch, so kind of seems like it might be appropriate. And as it turns out, the bitter aperitif that is Strega comes from a locale in Italy, which basically means like place of evil. So I'm like, all right, this seems like it might be appropriate.
Yeah.
To make the mood a little more appropriate, we have elected to not go with our traditional tiki exotica mood music. In the background, we have music being played by, conducted by Graham Plowman, who does a lot of this sort of gothic horror inspired stuff. And if you check out his YouTube channel, you'll get much more of this kind of music. I would not go to sleep listening to this. No, that would probably be a bad idea. But if you're thinking about running a Call of Cthulhu campaign, or you just want to start up a 8-hour session of Arkham Horror, or play some Cthulhu Wars, having this in the background, probably not a bad idea to do that. All right, so that was a nice little warm up. So on to sort of main course, right? The King in Yellow seems like a plan.
Was that our amuse-bouche?
Yeah, it's sort of traditional in the tiki culture, and by this I mean the American tiki-ized, cocktail culture, to have some sort of not overly aggressive alcoholic drink. It's just to toss back and go, hey, welcome here, have something to take the edge off. Now relax, because it's all about escapism. And so we're going to escape a little. We better escape. Hi, it's my wife. Yay! Ta-da! Star's here. You want me to make another drink, don't you?
Of course I do.
Because that went too quickly.
It did.
Right. Yep.
That was
Okay.
delish.
Yay!
Did
All
we
right.
get anything new this week?
We did. They're not very Lovecraftian.
That's okay.
So we did go to Dizzy Diva online, and we bought more things from her because she's awesome. So for all of you that happen to be Star Wars fans, here is the new Darth Vader pick, which, yeah. And if you don't think that that's going to look really cool hanging out in the Darth Vader Geek Tiki mug, you'd just be wrong. Star also saw other cocktail picks and said, we have to have these because they're just too awesome, especially because they're modular. You can change them out, which I think is just totally bizarre. Yep, those are Lego figure. Those are the heads off of Lego figures. And so you can swap out all of that headgear as you will, if you happen to have a bunch of...
Tiki picks?
Yes, so if you happen to have a bunch of Lego heads lying around like I do. Yep. And then my dear wife saw this, and you may recall from past episodes that my wife tends to really enjoy a gin drink called the Bee's Knees. So when she saw this pick, which is a little glass bee on the end of a pick, she said, I must have this. She also said, I must throw these picks into the lit incense, which, that's okay.
I'm not focusing. There we go.
You're not focusing, or the camera's not focusing?
I was showing the back of the bee. I was showing the bee butt.
Bee butt.
Yeah, that's the bee butt.
There you go.
That's
Okay.
the bee front.
All right. So what are we going to do? So here we have 2 coupe glasses. I know. But usually you don't serve a Sazerac in a coupe, but that's okay. We're going to do it anyway. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some cardamom pods, which I happen to have 4 or 5 pods right here. Just going to drop those in, like that. And then, excuse me, we are going to take some cardamom infused syrup, which I did today.
David and Chris are drinking rum, rock and rum.
The rock and rum?
The rock and rum.
We used to have some of the rock and rum. We don't anymore. We finished it because it was yummy. The interesting about the cardamom syrup is normally I would mix sugar into water over the stovetop, and I would add in whatever ingredients I want to infuse into it. I'd let that boil for a few moments until all the sugar is nice and dissolved, and then I'd let it sit and infuse for however long. Usually with spices like cardamom or my spiced syrup, I'll let that sit overnight. But I happen to have an immersion circulator, and I hear tell that you can speed up that process by sticking your little bag that contains water, sugar, and whatever spices you wish to infuse in it squeeze out all the air and stick it in your immersion circulator. Really, I've only had half a shot, really. And stick that in a water bath at somewhere between like 145 to 165, somewhere in that range, depending on how long you want to put it in there, for like 2 or 3 hours. And it infuses at the same level of intensity as you would get as leaving it overnight sitting in a warm bath. So like, okay, well, we'll try that. And so I did that with the cardamom syrup because it turned out that there were a couple of other syrups I needed to make for tonight because I ran out yesterday. I was like, oh shoot, I need to make more of this. The drink normally calls for a 1/4 ounce of cardamom syrup. So we are going to go with a 1/2 ounce because I'm making 2 of these and then we're going to split them. So all of the ingredients here are doubled for a single, right, would be halved for a single cocktail. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, I will get in my groove in a moment. You know it's going to happen. All right, a 1/2 ounce cardamom syrup. Wow. All right. There we go. 1/2 ounce. And then we're going to add bitters. Now, if you are making a Sazerac, you would normally you'd throw a sugar cube in here, a few dashes of your Peychaud's bitters, and then grind that up. Well, we're going to do kind of the same process, except we don't have a sugar cube, we have the syrup. So I'm going to throw some bitters in here, and we're going to start with 2 dashes of Peychaud's bitters, which is going to throw the color of this completely off, but whatever. And then I happen to have some cardamom bitters left over from the last time that Shaker and Spoon did, I think it was a rye box that they did this. And so we're going to go with also 2 dashes, 1 and 2 dashes of the cardamom bitters. So we really want to ramp up the cardamom flavor here. As cardamom, carcosa, seems like it should go together, right? All right, so I'm going to take and muddle this a little bit just to break up the cardamom pods. And they've actually sat here for just a moment or two in the liquid, so the pods have softened up, which is good, because then you can get in and break up the pod really nicely. Yep. Oh yeah. Oh, that tastes yummy. Again, for a Sazerac, you would be using rye, or if you go classic, you would be using cognac. But we're not. We're going to go with rum because I want to use rum. And it's the king in yellow. There should be some element of this cocktail that's just a little off. Maybe like there's a hint or a whisper of something rotten and fetid. So I'm going to go with an aged Jamaican pot still funky rum that you're going to taste and go, what? Fruit rotted? Yeah, that's the flavor profile I'm going for. So we're going to use the Forsyth Worthy Park 502. This stuff is pretty darn funky, and you're going to like it. I guarantee.
You're going to like it.
You're going to like it. You're going to like it. All right. Now this is definitely an alcohol-forward cocktail. Right? I mean, there's just a little syrup, there's just a little flavoring, and then there's spirit. Spirit. Okay, and then we're going to throw some ice in there.
We have a question.
We have a question.
Did you roast the cardamom pods before putting in the glass?
I did not. I did not want to overpower the cocktail with the cardamom flavor, and I think the roasting them might do that, so I did not. That's my excuse. I'm sticking with it. I don't know if you can tell, there's a light pinkish color to this, and that's coming from the Peychaud's. Peychaud's is just very, very typical of the Sazerac. You can't make a Sazerac without using Peychaud's. But this is so not a Sazerac in some ways. Right? I mean, there's no rye, there's no cognac, there's no absinthe in this. It's just inspired by the concept of the Sazerac. Is this cold enough? Let's see. Oh, no, that's maybe more than a little rotted. Oh, this will be fun. Uh-oh. What oh. All right.
This will be fun.
So we have a couple of coupe glasses that I've been chilling by throwing some crushed ice in them. Take those, put those aside. And then we're going to take our Strega, dump a little Strega in there. And we're just going to coat the inside of the glass with the Strega. There we go. Dump that into the other one. Do the same thing. Now, if you go to New Orleans and they're using their highball glasses for this, you'll watch them, they'll dump a little absinthe into the glass, and then they'll take it and they'll spin it in the air. And it'll like coat the inside of the glass and set it down, and then they'll go. And I like my glassware, so I'm not going to do that because I can't afford the replacement costs. All right, now we are going to go ahead and just strain this in. Yeah, we wind up with a little pinker than I wanted. Probably should have done like 2 dashes of the cardamom bitters, 1 dash of the Peychaud's. Because it hardly looks like the king in yellow when it's lightly pink, unless that's, you know, blood. So what are we going to do for a garnish? Because this is just way too pretty the way it is. Well, earlier today I took some lemon peel, and I just cut it kind of in the shape of the pallid mask, the yellow mask. So we're just going to drop those in there. Put that.
Did you taste blood?
And we will pass that off here.
Oh wow, that really does look good.
And
Like a valid math, that's perfect.
I'll take that over to you and your lovely wife, and then that one can go over to Gwen and Star. I'm hoping that comes out okay. Actually, never mind. I'm sure I'll get a taste at some point, right?
Yeah.
Actually, it's pretty. Like I said, it's pretty spirit forward, like you would expect a Sazerac-inspired drink. And as a consequence, my guess is that Star isn't going to be like overly amazed by the cocktail. But that's okay. If you don't like really spirit-forward cocktails, there will be others that we are doing this evening. If you want like a little more citrus to that, because I could have just taken a lemon peel. A typical Sazerac, you'll take a lemon peel and you'll do a twist, right? And you'll get that spritz of lemon over the top. I do have a spritzer of lemon oil, if that would work, if you would want a little more of that. If it's a little rough, you can always come back this way.
Oh, I like
That is spirit forward.
How the king in yellow
Yeah.
should be spirit
I
forward,
like it.
right? You like it?
I like it
Yeah,
much
see?
more than I like.
I'll let you try some.
So I will appeal to the studio audience. Do we need more sweetness to this? Should there be just a tad more of the cardamom syrup?
I like my drink sweet, so I wouldn't object to that. At all.
We think?
I think this is the spirit forward drink.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think you and Mark are going to enjoy this one, and us girls are going to enjoy the other ones. We're going to be very like right down traditional
Traditional lines.
gender.
Well, maybe
generational.
what I should do then is leap to the Wyrms of the Earth, which is, I was going to do that one third, but it is more of a classic tiki drink, and so kind of the opposite of the simplicity of the Sazerac. The tiki drink will be more complex, have more flavors to it. It's got a little more of the syrup and just citrus flavors in it, and juices. So we'll go with that. We'll go with that as a second. So on the garnish, all I did was I pulled a piece of the lemon peel and then just carved out like 2 little slits for the eyes, and then I ran a torch over it for just a moment to kind of curl up a little bit and get a little color on it, provide a little more depth to it. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm not in. So you missed the comment. It's like, oh, ours looks more like the pallid mask. Yours looks a little more like Deadpool. Okay, not an artist. Worms of the earth. What are we going to do with the worms of the earth? So,
Drink them, apparently.
drink them, yes. So this is actually a riff off of a cocktail that I ran across just recently. I get copies of this magazine called
Imbibe.
Drunkard? Exotica Moderna?
Right, that's what I'm looking for, Exotica Moderne. I think it's produced mostly quarterly, kind of quarterly, sort of quarterly. And in the back of that magazine, so they do all sorts of great things. Up front, they've got a bunch of surf and tiki music that is coming out, and they have interviews with prominent people within the tiki industry and bar visitations and all that sort of good stuff. Commentary on the culture. And usually in the back, there's a couple of sections that talk about drinks and have new drinks. So last night, I made up a batch of one of these drinks called the Den of Iniquity. And it apparently went over well. And I thought, well, you know, it's okay. It's just a little too sweet for me. So I can probably play around with it a little bit and do something to make sure that it's a little more palatable for me, but quite yummy still for everyone else. And so this also has the unusual feature that it has mango in it. And you would think mango, ooh, tropical fruit, it's all over the place in tiki. It's really not. Mango is a hard flavor to work with in cocktails. So we're going to do that. So like my spice syrup, I like cram all sorts of spices in it and let it sit for 8 to 12 hours before I pull that out there. I want the spice flavor to be pretty dramatic. I didn't have time to do that, so I had to use the immersion circulator method. So this is the inaugural bottle of the spice syrup using the immersion circulator method. So we'll see how well this goes. I was actually pleasantly surprised at how well this came off. And I forgot to plug the microphone in. Great. The cocktail normally calls for 3/4 of an ounce of simple spice syrup. So we are going to go with 1.5 ounces. Come on. There we go. So there's 3/4 of an ounce and 3/4 of an ounce. Now this has a 1/2 ounce of mango nectar. So we're going to go with a full ounce. Shaky, shaky, shaky. No, I am not juicing my own mangoes to do this. We don't use enough mango juice around here. And my lovely wife went to the restaurant supply store several months back and said, "Hey, mango, that sounds tropical. Here, I'll buy a flat." So I have a bunch of mango juice. So I'm quite happy anytime I run across a cocktail recipe that has mango juice in it so that I can use some mango. Right, so we got a full...
Now you can experiment.
Now I can experiment. Yes. Now we get weird. So because mango's not weird enough. Just now. Because, you know, well, mango at least you can go, well, that's kind of tropical, right? Definitely. But the apricot is really not a tropical fruit.
That's
But
weird.
this requires a 1/2 ounce of apricot liqueur. So we're going to go full ounce apricot liqueur. Yeah, it is bizarre how frequent apricot comes out in tiki cocktails. So are we bizarre enough yet with apricot liqueur and mango in this
Nah.
cocktail?
How
No?
about some
No?
spice? Let's spice things up.
How about if we go with Aperol?
What?
So some bitter orange flavor in this? Hey, why not? Yeah, so the drink actually calls for a 1/4 ounce of Aperol, so we're going to go a 1/2 ounce of Aperol. You can thank my mother for the worms. Trust me on this. We want a little bit of funk, so we're going to go with another Jamaican rum, but we're going to go a little less funky here. We're not going Appleton non-funky, but we are going to... Yeah, so Appleton's a Jamaican rum, but the Appleton funk level is pretty low, right? So we're going to go with a Hamilton Pot Still Gold. I could have gone with the Pot Still Black, but I think the gold will mesh a little better here. The other major ingredient here is going to be a rum agricole, and I think the gold will go better with that. So how much of this? Usually a 1/2 ounce, right? So we're going to go full ounce. There we go. And then he says we need rum agricole. Now, last night I used rum JM, which is actually what's called for in the original Den of Iniquity. But you might know that my rum agricole of choice is Clement, and if they're calling for a slightly aged, I'm going to go with the Clement VSOP because I love this stuff. It's great. So I'm going to go with a full ounce. So the cocktail calls for an ounce, so we're going to go 1 and 2 ounces. Yes, I could flip the jigger over and use the 2 ounce, but then I'm going to drip all over the place, and that's messy. All right, so there you go. That's it. Spice syrup, apricot liqueur, Aperol, and 2 kinds of rum, one of which is a Jamaican and the other is a rum agricole. On one hand, that's a reasonably normal tiki drink. On the other hand, that's a bizarre set of ingredients to be putting into a glass. So let's give this a try. It does require a fair amount of dilution, so they would say that you should shake this over crushed ice, which I always have bad luck just shaking over crushed ice, so I like to throw in a couple of bigger cubes just to get things moving in there. And then you should pour this over fresh ice in Mai Tai mugs. Okay, well, I happen to have some Mai Tai mugs here, because who doesn't, right? Okay, who that owns anything that resembles a tiki bar doesn't have a couple of Mai Tai glasses?
Oh, okay, sure.
Figured I had to caveat that, right? Okay. I'm just going to shake this up.
We have a Greg Perry, so hi from Team Star.
Hey, Greg.
Brooke and Andrea are watching from Henrietta, New York, with Walter and Karen.
Howdy. All right, and then we strain this into glasses that have been filled with crushed ice, which they have not yet been filled with crushed ice, so I should take care of that. There's one. I'm letting this sit so we get even more dilution off of this, and then we're going to add the worms, because worms, right? I told you there'd be worms.
Here's the worms.
Oh.
Yay, not real worm. That sounds like an experience in and of itself.
We
What's
do.
a book? It's a book. It's a book.
A couple of worms. And somebody asked about, whether or not there would be tentacles tonight. So yeah, we're going to do tentacles, because I can. As long as you got them, why not, right?
You got them. I mean, yeah.
I don't think that.
That's the whole point.
Of having tentacles is flaunting them. I'm not sure that that's the point of having tentacles, but and if you're, as long as you're sticking tentacles coming out of your drinks, you might as well also use straws that are shaped like tentacles. So we have the smaller version of the straw Thulu here. From where?
Lovecraft cocktails.
Lovecraft cocktails,
No,
hon. That's
sorry.
me.
Surfside Sips.
Surfside Sips. There you go, hon. And it also comes in larger sizes. So we have both a blue and a green one here. The green is overly large. It would stick up like way high. So we're going to go with the blue, which is.
Matters, ladies and
So there you go.
Size matters.
Must be proportionate.
So
And-
20% off with code Lovecraft.
So
Marissa, do you want to go up and get these?
Yeah, show off your fancy dress.
She's got the tentacle dress for the tentacles.
So I just drank out of this one. So this one
Alright.
should go to Star and Gwen.
All right.
And then also because I think this one's more aesthetically pleasing because it's got the smaller tentacle. I think this is just a little over large here. And do you want to show off? Look at this dress. It's got Cthulhu critters and stuff on it and eyeballs and
Are you
Azatoth
putting
and
it the dress or the boobs?
what? There we go.
All right.
Do you want to take a quick taste and let me know what you think?
Yes, all
Well,
right.
well, we
so
got you-
does
well, we
this
got-
tentacle actually work?
Yes.
It does, yes.
That's the first time you've
Ooh.
ever asked that.
Very nice.
Excellent.
Not bad at all.
Nice recovery from the, wow, that one's spirit forward. So there we go. There's
I
the,
think that's our quote of the night. Does this tentacle actually actually work.
We've done 2 cocktails, very, very, very different cocktails, but that's actually kind of true of Lovecraft's writings as well. Some of his writings are really kind of spot on and horrific, and some of them are like, why am I reading this? I didn't mention this earlier. The King in Yellow is actually not written by Lovecraft, so written by Robert Chambers, and Chambers is one of the guys that actually influenced Lovecraft's writings, that psychological horror element that is so prominent in The King in Yellow, which is actually not a book. It's actually a series of short stories, some of which are about a play called The King in Yellow. And there's actually a story where The King in Yellow is a play that is being put on within a play, and it's within a story, and it's very Hamlet-esque and that sort of thing. Yes, very, very meta, multiple layers, that sort of thing. So very cool.
Andrea wants a rundown of who else is in the audience tonight.
Ah, okay. Who all is in the audience? My lovely wife is in the audience. And then Gwen, who you have seen before, who once and future roommate.
You got Star's name up.
So this is Mark, and this... Oh, wait, no, sorry.
Which one am I?
We met you guys at Captain Gregory's,
Yes.
right? We were just sitting there at one of their tiki nights, I think.
I think it was,
I
yeah.
might have been wearing this dress actually, which might spark the
Which
whole thing.
probably sparked is that Lovecrafting, or I was wearing a Lovecraft pendant or something
Or
along those
something.
lines. And we ended up chatting like the rest of the evening and working our way through Captain Gregory's menu for we hope, right? Yeah. Okay.
All right, thank you for having us. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Love having new folk over, right? And they stroke my ego. They come downstairs and like, oh, this is cool. Oh, look at what's over there. And I'm like, yeah, okay.
Pet the squid. Are we allowed to pet the squid?
You are allowed to pet the squid, yes. Which, it's really funny because I put the squid, well, the squid was originally up over there somewhere. And then I went, oh, for the haunted tiki party, we could hang it over the bar. That would be cool. And my wife said, yeah, that would be cool, as long as it doesn't live there permanently.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
We have a fezzes are cool.
Fezzes are, in fact, cool, yes. Fezzes are very, very popular within the tiki and cocktail community.
At the camera.
Oh,
'Cause
right.
You should see the detail on this.
You should see the detail, and we should put a link to
Wow.
where you got it from so that other people can buy fezzes from them. Yes?
Yeah.
Fez or Rama?
Fez-orama. Obviously, I don't rock the fez. The fez is just not a thing that looks good on me. Instead, I spend way too much money on straw hats. This is what, $150, $200 straw hat.
Where's it from?
It's actually from a street vendor in Taiwan, in Taipei. So yeah, it's 150, 200 new Taipei dollars, which is about 850, 850 US. Yeah. I think this hat was actually under $10, which is why I have no problem like studding it with pins and that sort of thing. Which, once again, there's there's a Horror and Clay pin here. There's a Tiki Trail DC, an HP Lovecraft pin, appropriate for this evening. Drink More Rum is Lion Distilling. And on the flip side, we have both the Chairman's Reserve pin, because Chairman's Reserve out of St. Lucia is a darn fine rum. We have the Elder Sign. So next time, we start with the Elder Sign, seal off the Elder Gods, and then we do other cocktails. Right? We were making the Elder Sign. The Elder Sign requires a ½ ounce of orgeat, and I went ahead and put a full ounce of orgeat in here because we're making 2. And I was explaining that I tend to build my drinks in a way that is slightly different than most. I generally follow the rule of the less expensive ingredients going in first, with the caveat that anything that is thick or syrupy goes in the jigger first, so that I can clean that out with all of the other ingredients. Particularly citrus tends to do a really good job of cleaning out the uber thick orgeat that is in the bottom of the jigger, right? So you want all that good stuff there. So.
Ah.
So-
Horses meeting back
we do need 3/4 of an ounce of lime juice. That's lemon. It says so right on the bottle. That's how I can tell. So this is lime juice. No, that's cardamom syrup. That's the wrong thing. There we go. This is lime juice. This is why I label things, right? No, it's not labeled. It must be lime juice. Once again, 3/4 of an ounce. So we're going to double that to 1.5 ounces. There's one. It's a little fat on that side, but that's okay. So I can make this one a little scant. And then we're going to get, well, we're going to get...
Keith Green.
Keith found us. Yay!
Yay!
This is important because it also means that Keith is not banned. Welcome, Keith. You're just in time for an elder sign so we can block you. No, just kidding. All right, so what's really unusual about this particular cocktail is the base spirit for here is it's an aperitivo that you can substitute Montenegro if you wish, but I use a local brand, and that is from Don Chichi Fili. So if you happen to be local, these guys are awesome. They make all sorts of really, really just cool aperitivos and bitter liqueurs and that sort of thing. And we are going to use the Amaro de la Sirene as the primary booze in this, which is kind of cool. So nice. Yep. So we're going to go 3/4 of an ounce is what is usually called for in this cocktail. Again, this is a homemade creation. This is a totally original. So we're also going to go another 3/4 of an ounce because I'm making 2. Because I got drinkers in the house.
Yeah.
Now, this is a bitter aperitivo, so you kind of want to have something to balance that out a little bit. And what we're going to go with here is, I know this is going to sound weird, we're going to balance this out with a flowery liqueur. And so we're going to go with a little Saint Germain in this. Saint Germain and Sirene just sounds a little strange, but it works. It just oddly does. And if you ask me, why did you put those two things together? I will say, I have no freaking idea what the muse was, but it seemed to work okay. And then the next thing is, well, it's a rum drink, so we're of course going to use some rum. And I don't want anything too funky in here, so we're going to go with a Jamaican rum, but we're going to go with an Appleton. And if I'm mixing a whole bunch of cocktails, I will generally reach for like the Appleton Signature or something along those lines. When I've got people over that have discerning palates and I'm not making 8 zillion of the cocktails, I'll break out the better stuff and we're going to use the Appleton 12, which I think the Appleton 12 as a mixing Jamaican rum is just utterly fantastic. It's just a little too pricey to do that as a general rule, but man, this is a fantastic rum for almost any of your cocktails that require a Jamaican rum with some slight aging on it. This works just brilliantly. 3/4 of an ounce, so right, 3/4 of an ounce, yes, 3/4 of an ounce. So we're going to double that, another 3/4. Right, so you've got rum, you've got Saint Germain elderflower liqueur, you've got Amaro de Sirene, which you can substitute Montenegro for. It's not, Montenegro is even more bitter, so I'm not sure that really works as well. But if you're not in DC, you're not getting that. So, I mean, what do you do, right? We're going to shake this with some cubes, and we're going to strain this into Mai Tai glasses that are filled with crushed ice. And wait, do I happen to have, oh my gosh, do I have 2 more Mai Tai glasses? Could that be possible that I would not have? Oh, wait. It occurs to me only now that the King in Yellow probably should have been served in the Shores of Carcosa, horror in clay Mai Tai mug. I don't know. I think I like it better in the coupe, but still. And, as long as we are talking various people that do all sorts of wondrous things, there's Mai Tai Till I Die, also by them, which, you gotta love this. All right. We're going to shake this up with some ice.
No, My Tai Till I Die is by,
It's not by Stormcrow.
no.
It's by, it's by the other one. Oh, shoot. Oh, no. They're gonna kill me. Star will look it up and save me. That's what'll happen. Yes. So
Black Lagoon Room.
Black Lagoon Room, right? Whose pin I have on my hat right here. Yes. Oops. I'm sorry. We bought a mug from you recently. Does that count? Does that help? Or we're going to buy a mug from you. No, it's
No, the new pin.
the new pin. That's right. Yeah. So they haven't actually gone on sale yet, but they have announced that they've got new pin and merit badge that are just way cool. So yeah, be on the lookout for those. From whom, hon?
Black Lagoon Room.
Black Lagoon Room. Okay, so now we just poured some cubed ice in here. We're gonna lid this up and shake this. It's really warm behind this bar for some reason.
So good, so hot.
Nice.
This is why bartenders rarely wear long sleeve shirts. Right, that goes in there. I don't know how the hipster movement with the bow ties and the long sleeves and the big leather vests, I don't know how those bartenders do it because I would die. So much heat. Okay, we're going to string this in here. Do. Wah. Alright, that's pretty good. A little more crushed ice in there, except I don't have any more crushed ice. I'm out of crushed ice. Oh my god. Okay, fine. We'll use some cubed ice to fill this out because you really don't want to hear my ice crusher working. We've had enough technical difficulties this evening. We don't need to add to that. So we are going to garnish this with a dehydrated lime wheel. If I can get that to float there. Which I promised an interesting garnish for this, didn't I?
Yep.
That's not an interesting garnish. That's
No,
not
it's
interesting. No, not at all. Okay, so I'm just gonna toil over here a little bit. You're not gonna. So we are going to. Where is medicine dropper here? So what does a medicine dropper mean? Right? When I do garnishes and I pull out a medicine dropper,
It means lemon extract.
it probably means that there's lemon extract involved. And lemon extract usually means flames. Because, yeah, we're going to do that. So the trick here is to take either a sugar cube or, in my case, a bread cube, like an old stale piece of bread, and soak it a little bit in lemon extract. Now, you hear people do this all the time with 151. 151 gives you this pale blue flame that you can't see unless the light is really, really dim. Lemon extract gives you a bright orange yellow flame, which you can see. So we're going to do that. We're going to take this little breadcrumb, we're going to set it right here. Then we take this little breadcrumb, we're going to set it right here. Like, okay, so you're going to do flames. Big deal. What's the deal about that? That's not very elder signish. Well, you know what is elder signish? Is like a star, right? Like star anise. So we're going to just set, we're going to drop the star anise in the drink. No!
Oh, the stars aren't right.
The stars are not aligned.
You just made Star angry.
Fortunately, there are other, no, that one's broken. That would be bad. Maybe we go with the broken one?
That would be
We go with the
very appropriate.
We go with the broken one. There we go. Okay, so we're just going to set that up there. Stay. Be nice. Okay. And, all right. Now, we are going to attempt to light both of these at the same time. Let's see if this will work. So
And
this,
this is why we should have done it first.
right.
Flames involved.
Flame is involved.
First.
Big open flames are going to be involved. All right. So what I have in here is some aerosolized grapefruit and lavender oil. So we're going to put some flame going, and then we're just going to go whoosh. Ah, I missed. Didn't get both. Come on. Yeah, it does burn.
I
Come on.
can see that flame from here.
There we go. Missed. There we go.
Nah.
Ooh,
Didn't like.
it didn't light. All right, fine. You know what that means?
Uh-oh.
Oh god.
That means more lemon extract.
Yeah.
And that's just bread.
That's just bread
That's
with
a
lemon
croissant
extract.
with lemon extract.
And then I'm just gonna light this. We're just there. We go.
Woo!
It's quite flamey.
It is quite flamey. Yes.
You make that afterwards, but
No, this is just store-bought lemon extract, and I found out from various other people that the people that are very into tiki will often, like, anytime they see lemon extract on sale, they will go ahead and buy it because, well,
like,
why not?
let's get torched on.
There you go. And so now you can hear this crackling sound. Can you hear the crackling?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So I'm cheating totally on the crackling sound because what I'm using to make that crackling sound is Pop Rocks.
Oh.
But it sounds like fire. It's got that crackling sound. It's very cool. And you can sprinkle cinnamon on it and you get sparks like that. See, isn't that cool? You can do that with the small one. There you go. Yep. Cultist ritual. There you go. To ignite the elder sign to ward off the elder gods because that's what you want to do. You should not serve this. You should not serve this until the flames go out, especially if you're serving to people that have been drinking earlier in the evening, because they'll do things like catch their cheap-ass straw hats on fire and that sort of
Or their
thing.
hair.
Or their hair. Maybe that's how the fez came into being.
Oh.
Because the fez has no brim, so there's probably somebody that started out with a straw hat and lost it to a flame, right? There you go.
Mystery solved.
Mystery solved. So we're just going to let this burn. And the other nice thing about this is you'll get a really nice sort of burnt incense, or yeah, almost an incense kind of smell off of this because of the star anise burning, which is very cool. Right? It does look a little weird because the Pop Rocks are like, I guess they're cotton candy flavors, so they're different colors, they're like red and green. Wouldn't normally do that, but you know, whatever.
So the Pop Rocks, when they burn, they crackle.
No, just when they hit liquid of any sort, they will crackle, right? Yep. Right. You fell off. The elder sign fell off. Oh
Oh,
no.
we're all doomed.
Oh, it was the broken one anyway, so it wasn't working. There we go. You can go over there where you will not burn anything else. I will remove this. The crunchy bits here. Gwen's like, whoa! That one's not flaming. It's okay.
I don't know.
Well, true. This one is flaming, so you
I
might
do
want to
have
stay back.
long hair, so
I've only had one accident in the entire time I've had this bar of anybody catching on fire.
it was the last time I was here.
It wasn't you!
That's true.
Alright, so I'm going to take a drink out of the Mai Tai Till I Die glass. And you can take that over to Mark. And then you can take that over to Star. Hopefully I'll see some of that again in the future. Maybe not.
Maybe. I don't know. There were two of us now.
So let's see. We have had, what have we had? We've had a King in Yellow. We've had the Wyrms of the Earth. We've had technical difficulties. We've had flames. We've had no flames. We've had more flames. And we've had an elder sign.
Yum.
So we get a yum. We get a yum from somebody that doesn't like bitter liqueurs. So, you know,
Oh, that is so good.
I'm pretty happy with the way that turned
We
out.
get a yummy from Keith, who's not even tasting it. So
Well, yeah, but someday, Keith, we'll get you over here, and it'll be okay, right? So there you go. We've got 3 cocktails made this evening, plus the Providence Daiquiri that we started this with,
That's so good.
and then some of us, Gwen, started with another cocktail. We won't talk about what that was. But actually, it was an amaretto sour,
Yes.
but it was Jeffrey Morgenthaler's amaretto sour, which Gwen said.
Yum.
No. What did you say about that amaretto sour?
Oh, it was the best. Way better than I could have ever made. Which
'Cause-
is not a high bar.
Ego stroke. All right. So once again, we have come to time where it should be the end of this broadcast. Okay, the end of both broadcasts, apparently. And once again, I have not gotten around to getting a sign-off line, which there are so many good lines from Lovecraft that I could possibly use as a sign-off, and I just still have never gotten around to it.
Keep track of your tentacles.
Keep track of your tentacles. Does this tentacle work? I don't know. Suck on it and see what happens.
You're welcome.
3 very different drinks, but at least I think 2 out of 3 at least were a hit with most of the of the house. I think there may have been a couple of misses, but for different folks. So I mean that's okay. That's cool. People have different tastes, right? That's how things work. So we're gonna sign off now because now we've actually run slightly over. That's the technical difficulties that brought us over. And besides, we might actually want to have a little more of that yummy bolognese that that we started the evening with that you didn't get to see, but it was quite yummy. So I'm going to sign off now before I get myself into any further trouble. Adios. See you next week on Quarantiki number 74. Shake it, baby.